Let's be honest about sneakers. When we look at the most popular shoes today, they're basically the same shoes that have been around forever. Nothing's really changed about them except for the price. It feels like price increases on sneakers are getting out of control. And it really makes you question whether or not these shoes are actually worth it. But not to worry, because if you wanted just one pair of shoes and you wanted a pair that looks good, is comfortable, and affordable, then you have clicked on the right video, because in this video, I'm gonna be showcasing 8 sneakers that fit that criteria, and they all cost around $100 or less. I would suggest you guys to stay till the end of this video, because I will reveal to you what I feel is the best absolute value for money shoe for $100. But we got a lot of shoes to cover, so let's go. So these shoes are in no particular ranking, but I wanted to start with one of my favorite pairs of Adidas. This is the Adidas Gazelles. Classic Adidas models have gotten pretty popular in the last year, and the Gazelles are simply one of the cleanest pairs around. They come in many different colorways and many different versions, but this pair right here is the Gazelle indoors, and they're definitely my favorite. Big fan of that gum outsole, and it just has an overall cleaner look, and you're getting some pretty good quality on these as well. Some pretty nice suede on this, and the retail for these are just $100 in most versions. However, this indoor version does retail for slightly more. They go for $110. And for sizing on these, now if you've ever worn a pair of Air Force Ones, I would suggest to go with the same size you do in that, and for me that is a half size down from my true size. I normally wear size 11 in most other shoes, but in these I fit perfectly, going down to 10.5. Not all Adidas shoes fit the same, but these Gazelles for me definitely fit slightly big. For comfort, I wouldn't really give these like a 10 out of 10 comfort wise, but they're definitely not uncomfortable. So I do think overall these are a great option. The next shoe we're going to talk about is the Reebok Club C, an absolute all-time classic. These are a pair of shoes that will just never go out of style, and they look good regardless of the colorway. You can get them in all white, you can get them with gum bottoms, or even add a pop of color. These are sleek, they have a timeless design, and they're just super versatile because you can just wear these with anything. And these right here go for well under $100. The retail price on these is just $80. There are some other versions like the Reebok Club C Vintage, which goes for a slightly higher price of $100. And the leather on these is quite soft, so it's actually a pretty comfortable shoe. And for sizing on these, now sizing on this is a bit different depending on what part of the world you are. So if you are from the US, I would suggest going with your true size. However, if you are in Europe, the size conversion is a bit weird compared to Nike, for example. Normally a size 11 US is a size 45 in Europe. However, with these, a size 11 US is actually a 44.5 in Europe. So that's actually the size you should go for. So if you are in Europe, I would suggest going down half a size from your true European size. Another shoe that has gotten really popular recently is the Adidas Campus 2000s. It's basically a modern version of the classic Adidas Campus, and everything is bigger and fatter in this version. As you can see by the stripes, you got much fatter stripes here. Also, the tongue of the sneaker is much bigger, much thicker, and also just check out how fat those laces are. It's almost a completely different shoe than the original Campus, and it has almost like a skateboarding feel to it. These retail for just above $100, so the price of these is $110, and I think they look great. In fact, I actually prefer the look of these to the original Campus. I also find these quite comfortable. Maybe it's because of all that padding on the tongue and on the inside of the shoe. And for sizing on these, so sizing, I'll be honest, is a bit weird with these. I went a half size down from my true size, which is what I usually wear in an Adidas Campus, but I will say that these do feel kind of tight around the toe area when going a half size down. But then I tried the shoes at my true size, and I felt like there was just too much heel slippage at the back. Everyone has different size feet, so I definitely would suggest you guys to try these out in person. Out of the two, I would say I prefer the feeling of the half size down pair, but I highly suggest with this pair, make sure you try on a pair for yourself to find the best size. Speaking of skateboarding shoes, we have to talk about one of my favorite releases of the year so far. These are the Vans New School. They're kind of like the fatter cousin of the Vans Old School that you're probably used to. Everything on this is much puffier. Have a look at that stripe, look at the way it puffs out. The tongue, of course, on these is huge. There's a ton of padding there, and I just find these shoes to be very comfortable, mainly because of that padding. They just feel great on feet. I've been wearing my pair a lot, and they've already released in a few colorways. Probably the most popular colorway will be that standard black and white pair, but I had to go with this navy one just because I just thought it looked super clean. I feel like everyone's got a pair of Vans Old School, so these New School stand out a little bit more. And the price on these is only $75. For sizing on these, it really depends how you want to wear the shoe. So for me, I like to wear them like this with the laces kind of loose and untied. And if you're gonna wear them like this, you can definitely go with your true size. So I got these in my true size, size 11, they fit great. But if you want to tighten these, you don't like having them loose like that, then I would suggest going up half a size. That is because the tongue on this is really thick, so if you're gonna try to tie your laces, you'll probably need to go a half size up. And very quickly, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm dropping a ton of content just like this every week without fail. Make sure you also smash that like button so it gets pushed out to more people. That really helps me out. Thank you guys. Moving on, now we haven't talked about Nike yet, but these shoes that I'm gonna mention right now might be some of the most comfortable Nike shoes out there and nobody talks about them. And that is the P6000. You might have never heard of these, but these are a vintage runner from Nike that they've actually brought back this year in several colorways. Personally, this pair right here, the red colorway, is my favorite. And the comfort on these bad boys when compared to other Nike shoes in the same price range, for example, the Blazers or the Air Force Ones, you can't even compare them. It's pretty much night and day. These are just so much more comfortable. I almost didn't want to include the sneaker in this list because they do retail for $120, and that is definitely much higher than $100, but I felt like if I didn't talk about these, then you'll never hear about it from any other sneaker YouTuber, and I wanted to highlight this shoe because I think value for money when it comes to a Nike sneaker, there's just not too many that are better than these. They look great. There's so many nice colorways of these available, and for sizing, I would suggest going down half a size from your true size. So that's pretty much the same size you would normally wear in an Air Force One. Unless you have wide feet, then I would suggest just going with your true size. So really guys, when it comes to Nike sneakers that are comfortable, look good, and are also around $100, I don't think there's too many that can beat the P6000. The next shoe we have to talk about, this list wouldn't be complete without the New Balance 574. It feels like these shoes have been around since pretty much the beginning of time. It is the shoe you think about when you think of New Balance. In fact, these are such a classic that the shoe emoji on your Apple devices was actually based on this shoe. They retail for just $85, and for that price point, you're getting some really nice quality here. It's a shoe that will last you for years. The quality on this is just much better than most other brands. And besides just looking good and the quality, one of the main reasons why the shoe has continued to be so popular is because of just how comfortable they are. It's a great shoe for all day use, and you can get these in pretty much an infinite number of colorways. And for sizing on these, go with your true size for the perfect fit. A lot of New Balance shoes fit really different depending on the model, but with the 574s, I would suggest going with your true size, even if you have wide feet. The next pair is the Adidas Sambas. If you've been on Instagram or TikTok anytime in the last year, you may have noticed that the Samba has become pretty much the most popular shoe on the internet at this point. They have a classic look to them and also a very slim and low profile, so it's perfect for people who don't really like wearing chunky shoes. And there's multiple versions of the shoe. So the pair I have right here is the vegan Sambas. These retail for $100. You got the OG version as well, also goes for $100. And then there's also the Samba Classics, which have that much longer tongue, and the price on these actually is only $75 if you wanted that look. I own a few Sambas. They're definitely one of my favorite sneakers, although I wouldn't say they're necessarily the most comfortable shoes, especially if you have wide feet. I wouldn't even suggest you buying these. These are super narrow in the midfoot area, so wide foot people, you probably will not find any size that fits you right. But for everyone else trying to get this shoe, I would suggest going up half a size from your true size to get that best fit. Once again, that is because the midfoot is very, very narrow. But I've heard some people say that going true to size for them feels fine. So this sneaker right here, you won't see it selling out everywhere all the time. So I would suggest going to a shop, trying it on for yourself to find the best size. For me, that is going up half a size. And moving on to the last shoe on the list. So for me, this shoe takes the prize for the best overall value for money, and that is the New Balance 530. When talking about the three criteria, so it looks good, it's comfortable, and also affordable. Yeah, the price on these is only $100. This pair gets very high marks on all three of those categories. Personally, I think these look great, especially if you like that vintage runner aesthetic, like a pair of Asics, for example. There's also a lot of clean colorways available as well. And the best part is the comfort of the shoe. So the sneaker actually features New Balance's Absorb technology, which some of the more expensive New Balances even have the same technology, but this time you're getting it for a much cheaper price. And for sizing on these, simply just go with your true size to get the perfect fit. For me, that's a size 11, and it's also the same size I wear in most Nike Dunks or Jordan 1s. When talking about $100 shoes, I don't think it really gets much better than this when it comes to comfort, wearability, and price. Yeah, huge fan of the 530s, but also let me know down in the comments what is your opinion for the best overall value for money shoe for around $100. And of course, I really hope you guys found this video useful. I left links in the description to pretty much all the shoes covered on this list. Do not forget, of course, to hit that subscribe button if you want more sneaker reviews and sneaker content. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.